Bonita Bay Club. Justin Smith here, one of your PGA teaching professionals. So here we are, June, and I guess you can call it sunny Southwest Florida. Got a little bit of a system moving through here, but I want to talk about some short game today. I've had a lot of questions about how to hit different shots off of, let's say, into the grain or tight lies, or maybe something that's like over a bunker, or even just bunker questions too. But today I want to focus just off of the grass. Now, I know I'm off of a mat here. You can see I have 3 coins set up. Now, I'm going to call this sort of like a 9-shot rule, if you will. So I got to name it something. And what I mean by that is basically technique-wise or skill set. We're trying to develop a skill set here in the short game. And you got to have good hands. You got to have good tempo. Obviously, you have to have good ground interaction as well. So what I'm going to do today is kind of show you some options that might help you kind of find, your, let's say, technique going forward. So let's start with the first one. Now, you can hit high shots and low shots from hinging the golf club, hitting high shots. You can hit low shots from hinging the golf club as well. But it's all a matter of sort of the delivery and maybe what the handle is doing at impact. The grip on the golf club does have a massive impact there as well. So 9-shot rule. Now, from each station, so I just set up stations myself so I can remind myself. Now, the first station, you're going to hit 3 shots using sort of no wrist hinge. Now, that could be, as you would think, maybe a Steve Stricker or Jason Day. I wouldn't say let's use them as models. Let's just use them as this is one way to do it, because they're way over here and not many people do that, but they're pretty successful doing it as well. So first one, you're going to hit 3 different stations, and you're going to use more of a Stricker Day style, which is going to be, let's say, less wrist hinge, more body rotation the way through. So the first station, you're going to hit, let's say, more of a, let's say, draw bias. So you might close your stance less here and hit little draw shots. Now the second one would be more of a neutral. So we're not going to hit it more from the inside or from the outside. We're going to have this more or less Stricker, straight arm, down the line. And then obviously you can take the last one as we're going to hit more of sort of a fade. Now, if you don't know how to do any of these, this is sort of why I'm trying to help you, is we want to have these options, but we also want to find what's correct for you, okay? So the last one, obviously, no wrist hinge, set up to it, and hit just little kind of fade shots here. Now, secondly, we would use the exact opposite. So we're going to go into a big sort of wrist hinge and unhinge on the way through. You're thinking, well, that's going to go higher. There are different ways I can teach you how to do this to hit at different trajectories, if you will. So we're going to go into that. We're going to hit our little draw, close the stance, wrist hinge, let it release. Okay, you can kind of see it's sort of the same trajectory as what we were doing before. Now, if we go into sort of our neutral one, we're going to hinge it more. There we go. Okay. And then our last one would be more of a sort of fade version. Okay. Hinge it, across it. You're going to get a lot more spin on sort of that one. You see how that one just sort of grabbed. And that's a fun shot I like to play, especially when you have something you really need to stop. Now, the last one's going to be what? Sort of an in-between. You're going to hit some shots with not as much wrist hinge. You're going to have more or less in a sensation. So let's say here's our Stricker. Here's our lots of hinge, and here's sort of like meet me in the middle. And then start at your first station and go to your little draw, okay? Meet me in the middle. Boom. And you can see how kind of these are all the same trajectories. And like I said, I'll teach you that here one-on-one, but this is just a good tidbit for you to learn. Is here we go. Boom. Neutral. Okay. And our last one would be clearly our little fader that probably spins a little more. There we go. All right. So the point of this is to figure out what technique is correct for you. Some people have different anatomy-based wrists. Some people like to hinge it more. You can hit high and low shots from both. I'm telling you. I love this part of the game. I learned it from some really good friends of mine, Brian Harmon being one of them growing up. Don't take the hands out of the golf swing. The hands are not passive. They have a massive role in the golf swing. So we need to engage them in the correct way that works for you. The short game's creative. That's why we're doing this. It definitely shaves shots off your round the quickest. Maybe putting and short game might go hand in hand. But it's fun to practice to me. I do like seeing people out there that are trying to work on their short game, but I do see a little more on the driving range, which is fine. We've got to get to the green first. So what this helps with is finding your own technique, finding your own maybe feel, but it also helps with what is your ground interaction going to feel like, and also maybe just a little bit more of sort of technique, with the wrists, if we maybe even have an injury from there. So a lot of different ways to do it. Clearly, I showed you. If you have any questions regarding any of these or maybe your tendencies, please feel free to reach out and we'd be happy to help you. Y'all have an awesome day.